the people, and it didn't do things quite the way the government wanted. Over the university when this particular, the most conservative government we've ever had in this province reigns over this province. It is no accident.
So I was not consulted. The staff at the Division of Extension were not consulted. The people that we worked with were not consulted. They didn't consult with fishermen or women's groups in rural Newfoundland. They didn't consult with development associations or cooperatives. Learners in our programs were not consulted. The artist community was not consulted. Native groups that we work with, illiteracy groups that we work with, none of these people were consulted. So I don't know who was consulted in terms of this decision. Dr. May said that the university would retain a presence in rural Newfoundland. And he referred to the regional officers and the courses that are going on in Buren, Labrador City, or wherever. Well, these are administrative offices. They carry out, they organize courses, they organize exams, and they do all the administrivia related to that kind of work, and it's a legitimate function, I'm not denying that, but it's not the work that we do. It is not outreach. It is not community development work. To say that they can do our work is almost the same as saying in here that sociologists can teach chemistry or historians can teach physics. A line you hear from a lot of people who like to get rid of extension, that we were relevant 20 or 30 years ago, but things have changed and we're not needed anymore. Well, that suggests to me that it's 20 or 30 years since Dr. Warren's been out in rural Newfoundland, because there is a great need out there. The need is much more than it was before. The society, the problems out there are much more complex. It's not just a simple matter of organizing groups. There are very fundamental issues: family violence, drugs, unemployment, the impact of chronic unemployment, issues of policy in the fishery, resource management. There's all kinds of issues out there. Dr. Warren suggested, to laughter, I was glad to hear, that we could be replaced by the community college system. Well, the community college system has also been cut back in the financial cutbacks. They don't have the skills or the resources to do the kind of community development work that we do. They have never demonstrated either the ability, the interest, or the resources to do this kind of work. They're focused on job creation, job skill development, and that's their function. Another agency that was suggested that could replace us, that's replacing a lot of things, is the Enterprise Newfoundland Labrador. Again, they have a legitimate function. Their function is to carry out government programs of economic development. These are top-down programs designed in government to be delivered to the communities. It's not the approach to community development that we use, which is to work in the community, to build from community needs, in many cases to help people find their own solutions to the problems. It's a totally different issue altogether. I'm not denying that the services of Enterprise Newfoundland and Labrador are not needed out there. Of course they are. But it's not the same kind of work that we do. And further to that, because of the kind of work that we do, it needs to be arm's length from government, because we're dealing with people expressing their needs and trying to solve their own problems. It's important that you be arm's length from government to do that kind of work. Dr. Warren's final group that we're going to replace us are the development associations. And I'm sure that came to them as a very great surprise. because they've been demanding our services. They're saying, and I just came from another interview, and the executive director of the Rural Development Council was also on the same interview with me, and this is what he was saying, that it's a great withdrawal of services from rural Newfoundland. It's going to cause them great difficulty to do their job without us.
There is money out there. The issue is not money in any deep and profound sense. The issue is a question of, is really how do we define our universities? And my position is what is happening here is that universities, which have never been as much of the community as they ever should have been in the past, are being lost to the community. They're being privatized. The resources are being turned over to a small, extremely powerful political and economic elite, and this is happening without any consultation with the people who work in universities, without any consultation with the students, and without any consultation with the communities that pay and support those institutions. And I think that that is profoundly wrong. Extension is a symptom of that, and it is long past time we had a public inquiry into universities, and we publicly defined what we want universities to mean in this society.
In the work I do, I travel extensively, and whether it's in Chile, it's in the Caribbean, it's in Nicaragua, or it's in rural Newfoundland, Extension is recognized for the unique work they do on community development and the visionary approach they have to that type of work. The educational materials that they produce are not just used here locally, they're used internationally in countries around the world. I sat the other day and I listened to Dr. May talk about the decisions that had to be made about this university. The budgetary decisions were made in order to maintain MUN's reputation and stature across the country. I would argue that by cutting MUN Extension, he is severely damaging the reputation of this institution.
Yeah.
He's giving a very clear message to the people, not only locally, nationally, but internationally as well. And I think that message is that the only people worth educating are those who can come and they can sit in the confines of the physical structure here in St. John's. The rest of the people don't matter. And the only type of education that's important to people is that can be given through courses in a classroom, through professors on an academic level. The rest of it doesn't count.
The artists of this province have been helped by Extension. They have come to Extension. Their contact with the university is through Extension. There are hundreds of people who know Memorial University because they have done something with Extension. It's their university. They've never ever signed up for an official course. They have no credits. They have no degrees, but they've always felt the Memorial is there for them and have expected it to be there. And again, this is what's different. Today, Memorial University of Newfoundland is a different university than it was. And it will never be the same unless Extension is back where it belongs, and Extension is back doing the work it has been doing, and there is so much more to be done.
Well, yesterday when I watched this thing on the 6:30 News on TV, I felt deep shock and sadness at what was going on there, and anger to think that this could happen this time in the life of this province. I think that rural Newfoundland at present is probably in the deepest crisis it's ever been in. And the government seems to be saying that they're trying to do something about it, and then somebody goes ahead and axes the greatest tool that they've ever had to help rural Newfoundland help itself. I just think it's particularly outrageous.
My name is Otto Golding. I'm Western Director with the Newfoundland and Labrador Rural Development Council. And I've called in to express my concern about the cutbacks with the Extension Service at Memorial. Development associations and Memorial University, I guess they started together. And it's unfortunate now at a time when development associations are coming into their own, and community development is coming into its own as a force to resolve some of the issues in Newfoundland, that they've seen fit to cut the Extension services. I think that's regrettable. The service that would provide, I don't think the people at the top in the university really understand the community service that's provided by Extension. I suspect that they're focused in St. John's. Regrettably, Memorial is now becoming the University of St. John's, and I think that is unfortunate. And I think definitely another look should be taken at this.
Thank you, Otto.
Well, we have found over the years that Memorial Extension Services has been an invaluable service in our community, as I have noticed in most of rural Newfoundland. And we would be very sorry if it was discontinued.
Okay.
We went to Extension, and we asked Extension Arts, and we asked them for help. And so they let us rehearse at Bond Street. They let us use we rented the theater from them. All the theater scene in St. John's and across this province is lauded across the country. But the amount of assistance and help that we have received over the years from the Visual and Performing Arts section at Extension is so huge. We wouldn't be, there's a show on at the hall now, Naked Bungalow, they rehearsed at Extension. There's, Rick Mercer is doing a show in Toronto, which is a big hit. He rehearsed at Extension, he started to work at Extension. You know, I mean, Corey and Wade, where he came out of, rehearsed there. Every single bloody show that's ever gotten any kind of attention in Newfoundland has come through with the help of Extension Arts. And so now Art May is saying that the university has no further interest in the community, but we're the community and we have a further interest in the university. Thank you.
But they're getting further and further away from the truth of whatever reality is going on, and like stuff like Extension Services, which is a tremendous success story, and in the annals of any university or any community development, it's appreciated in a heart and gut and money level in the rural communities of Newfoundland. I've met so many great people who work with Extension who helped people out of so many, dark holes economically and socially, and turned their communities around and gave them the resources to help themselves. And there would be no arts community here in town without Extension Services. Every show that was ever done in Newfoundland was rehearsed or written at Extension Services. Every single show. Every artist, Codco included, and Codco and everyone else, name any show, and it went through Extension Services. Name any visual artist, from Christopher Pratt up to, Jerry Spires and everyone else, that all went through Extension Services. Everything that's ever happened went through Extension Services. It has produced more for the dollar than anything I know on earth. It has turned over more. And of course, it's a success that makes, government nervous. So they cancel it, and, their decisions are totally ill-informed. And $1.3 million budget? And they're going to give $44 million to the Economic Recovery Commission, so they can go and have chocolate eclairs and 3 cups of coffee down, and discuss what might be good to make someone rich. So a few poor people can get a decent, can get the minimum. Give me a break.
I think we have to realize this is going to be a long-term struggle. It's not going to be one single demonstration. This has to be a massive people's movement right across the province. We must not isolate ourselves to one particular issue. We must deal with the problem in its entirety. And we must join together and join forces, because that's the only way we're going to regain control of the government.
Great.
Sacred cow. My job in the library.
Boy, this is a really complicated way to get to the car.
Oh my God, there's Dr. May now. But Unfortunately, of course, Dr. May is too busy keeping the lawns trimmed to be able to speak to us at this time. Is here. Busily mowing the lawns and painting the university.